basketball championship from the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. The Kansas Jayhawks against the Wichita State Shockers, brought to you by Michelob Light, an exceptional light beer with a rich, smooth taste.
NCAA basketball, the Wichita State Shockers versus the Kansas University Jayhawks, is brought to you by Card TV3 and the Kansas State Network, and by the many fine sponsors whose commercial announcements are seen throughout the telecast. We hope you enjoy tonight's live sports action from New Orleans, the first round of the NCAA Western Regional Playoffs.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Louisiana Superdome and NCAA Midwest Regional Action. I'm Fred White. Our analyst tonight, former Kentucky great Larry Conley. And Larry, a little bit of an oddity. We have two teams located 3 hours apart in the state of Kansas who came all the way to New Orleans to get together for the first time in 26 years. Kansas and Wichita State, they're here, and they both have some great players with them. And Fred, when you get this far, you've got to look at what got you here. And for the Jayhawkers, it was a pair of great guards, Tony Guy and Darnell Valentine. Tony Guy's 36 points against Arizona State got them to this point in New Orleans. Darnell Valentine, on the other hand, Kansas's #2 scorer in all time, and their great basketball history. If you look at Kansas, their great strength is outside. Wichita State, the Shockers, their strength is inside. They've got two great players inside. They've got a young man by the name of Cliff Livingston, a 6'8 sophomore from San Diego, California. He is the leading scorer for this Shockers club. And on the other side, you've got Antoine Carr. His 20 points and 12 rebounds against Iowa has gotten them to this point. Fred, how about the coaches? Well, needless to say, they're both successful because they're here in Midwest Regional Action. Ted Owens, the head coach at the University of Kansas, in his 17th year at the helm of the Jayhawks, just keeps on winning basketball games. This will be his 9th time and Kansas' 13th time in the NCAA. He has won 6 Big 8 championships in those 17 years. His counterpart on the other bench, Gene Smith of Wichita State, a little bit different tonight. He elected not to come out to watch his team warm up. We won't see him yet. We will this evening where it's on. There he is, in fact. He's on the court with his team right now in his 3rd season at Wichita. So there you have it. You have met the teams. You have met the players. You have met the coaches. We'll be back to meet the starting lineups right after this. Now from the Louisiana Superdome, we're set to meet the starting lineups. Let's join public address announcer Pat Matthews.
For Kansas, number 35, David Magley. For Wichita State, number 35, Antoine Carr. For Kansas, number 40, John Crawford. For Wichita State, number 32, Jay Jackson. And now for the centers. For Kansas, number 54, Art Housey. For Wichita State, number 54, Cliff Livingston. And now let's meet the guards. For Kansas, number 34, Tony Guy. For Wichita State, number 40, Carl Papke. For Kansas, number 14, Darnell Valentine. And for Wichita State, number 44, Randy Smithson. Head coach Ted Owens of Kansas and Wichita State's head coach Gene Smithson. The officials for tonight's first game, the referee is Bob Harrell. The umpire.
There are your starting lineups. It's Kansas and Wichita State, and we'll be back with a tip-off and tonight's game right after these messages. Another look at the Louisiana Superdome, where we're going to meet the officials for tonight's game. The three-man crew here: Robert Harold from the Pac-10, Bill Crow from the Southeast Conference, and Tom Frame from the ACC. The principals have all gathered in the Louisiana Superdome. Kansas and Wichita State getting set to go. Larry Conley, Wichita State's been wanting Kansas for 26 years. Kansas refusing to play them, and they finally got him here tonight. It'll be an interesting matchup.
You got to believe the Shockers are going to be excited for this one.
Kansas comes up with the opening tip. Antoine Carr ran it down, knocked it back inbounds for Wichita, but Kansas controlling. Darnell Valentine against Randy Smith, and Wichita man-to-man.
Good pressure man-to-man by the Shockers. They're coming out and trying to make Kansas force turnovers early.
Tony Guy, one of the marvelous guard tandem. Dave Magley, first shots up, in and out, rebound. Antoine Carr for Wichita to the coach's son, Randy Smithson. Wichita missing 2 starters tonight. Ozell Jones, their center, declared ineligible last week. Tony Martin, the guard, has come down with an injured back, not starting here tonight. So the Shockers in NCAA play, 2 starters light. There's a replacement. Jay Jackson from Little Valley Falls missed his first effort. Up comes Valentine for Kansas. Just underway in the Louisiana Superdome, and a foul called against Randy Smithson of Wichita, the first foul in the ball game. Larry, up to 35,000 people expected here tonight. It will be the largest crowd ever to see a postseason NCAA game, and the second largest crowd in history to see a college game. The largest, of course, would have been in the Astrodome down in Houston when UCLA and Houston played on January 20th, 68. He had 52,693. Here's Guy from the baseline. Too strong. Rebound. Antoine Carr, Wichita.
Kansas can't buy one in the early going. Look out.
Livingston, rapid.
Good pass. Livingston got open. Got in behind the Kansas defense. Not good transition that time by the Jayhawks. They did not get back and stop the Wichita State break.
2-0 Wichita. The Shockers draw first blood. John Crawford out of his range a little bit, perhaps. He didn't get the shot down. Loose ball fought for, out of bounds to Wichita. Shocker basketball.
We talked about Cliff Livingston at the top. Watch this. Here's the youngster going up. San Diego, California. He shows what he's made of. Gives the Wichita State club a 2-0 lead. Kansas throwing up a 2-2-1 press.
Freshman Carl Papke throws it away. Darnell Valentine, who is from the city of Wichita, intercepts and is fouled by Papke. Carl Papke, a freshman starter for Wichita from Wichita West High School, starting in place of Tony Martin here tonight. The youngster is carrying a lot of pressure with him here this evening.
I'll tell you, Livingston made the great stuff, but I'll tell you, this time you watch Valentine, who comes up with a steal. We're at the end of the play right here. Valentine made the good steal on the press. Papke commits the foul. Got a lot of ball that time.
Darnell Valentine, a 6'2 senior, an academic All-American. Went to Wichita High School for the first time in his college career, playing against Wichita State. Larry, Wichita State has played both Kansas and Kansas State. Kansas State has played them in recent years. Kansas hasn't. It's even gone so far that a state legislator from Wichita introduced legislation to force them to play, and that was defeated. So Wichita gets its wish here tonight.
Kansas in a 2-3 zone right now. They've got a pretty compact back end.
Randy Smithson knocks the shot down from the top of the circle. And Wichita in front now, 4-1. 18-12 left in the first half.
Good man-to-man pressure by Wichita State right now. There's Magley with a good pass.
Inside to Art Halsey, and he just puts it up ever so gently over the rim. It's 4-3, Wichita by 1.
A lot of this game is going to depend on how Wichita State handles this 2-2-1 press that Kansas has. The first time they did not handle it well. This time they did.
Jackson inside. Cliff Livingston a little too strong, and Halsey had the ball. Antoine Carr is going to be called for a personal foul. Antoine Carr trying to tie up Art Halsey draws the foul. His first, the second, make it the third on Wichita. Kansas has not committed a foul yet.
The one thing Kansas has got going for him with that 2-3 zone is that they keep Halsey and Guy and their other good player inside, Magley, compact in there. Then they move Valentine back in the middle. It really makes it tough for them to get the ball into Carr and Livingston, which is where Wichita's strength really lies.
Larry, the winner in this ball game tonight really can't even claim the Kansas State championship because Kansas State's still alive out west. That's John Crawford from the baseline for Kansas. He has 2. And now it's 5-4, Kansas by a point. Kansas State will play North Carolina tomorrow for the West Regional Championship. Governor John Carlin of Kansas, who is here tonight, has declared it basketball week in Kansas. This shot, Valentine with the ball for Kansas. Tony Guy, Crawford, top of the circle. Really not his range. He's missed twice from there. Wichita leads Carr. Antoine Carr. Ted Owens did not like the Kansas effort getting back on defense at all. He is just up glaring at his ball club.
Ted's got to be upset. He's down 1 right now, but both baskets, 2 of the baskets they've gotten by Carr and Livingston have been runaways, and they've laid them in. They've stuffed them in.
6-5, Wichita by a point. Valentine had some penetration. He was fouled. Randy Smithson really unhappy with the call now. His second foul.
You saw Lovington's first stuff. You want to see another one? Antoine Carr. He's the other end of that bookend we talked about at the top. He goes up, does the same thing. Ted Owens has got to get his club back on defense. Their transition game on defense is not very good right now.
There's Gene Smithson, the Wichita coach, and Larry really has done a good job of keeping this ball club together through adversity. There have been rumors of scandal at Wichita State. They lost Ozell Jones, their center, ineligible. Now they've lost Tony Martin in the guard, and they just keep on winning. Here they come with a 1-point lead in the ball, and they throw it away. Basketball goes back to Kansas.
Papke had the ball coming down the middle. He never really had good control of it. And when he threw it to Carr, Carr was off balance, and there was a man between he and the ball. He lost sight of it. Thus, it hit his shoulder and went out of bounds.
Very early factor in this game. First, let's look at Valentine. Darnell Valentine now has 3 points. Early factor, 16:25 left in the first half. But Wichita State's committed 14 fouls. Kansas hasn't committed 1 yet. Livingston, up court Carr. He's got Jackson with him. Good feed to him, but Jackson pulls it back out. Smithson.
Pretty smart move that time. I think Jackson got back outside. Housey was in there waiting to reject the shot. He turned around and brought it back out, set the offense up for Wichita State.
Smithson, top of the circle, shot good. Randy Smithson has 4 points. Wichita leads 8-7 with 15:55 left in the first half here. Midwest Regional Action, the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, a fantastic facility. LSU goes against Arkansas later tonight. There will be 35,000 here. Several of them aren't here yet, and we have a traveling call against Housey.
Traveling violation. Shockers ball.
The third turnover charge.
Housey got in a lot of trouble that time. He got inside against a lot of defensive people, and he just couldn't turn around, thus causing the walk.
Third turnover of the piece. There's Livingston. No, Carl Papke had a hand on it. Here's Antoine Carr down the lane, and he laid it high off the glass to get it. 4 points, Antoine Carr.
That was a rainbow. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on inside in there. I'll tell you, Housey and Crawford and Livingston and Carr are really going at it.
Jay Jackson got a foot on it. It'll be out of bounds to Kansas. Neither one of these ball clubs beat now that Wichita is hurt. Kansas has been a 7-man club all year long. We mentioned Wichita's lost 2 starters in the last week. That has to hurt in NCAA play. Tony Guy moving against Jackson, hits the deck. Ball picked up by Crawford. Boy, Guy was magnificent against Arizona State, had 36 points. The last time out for Kansas, Valentine. They've got a charge against Darnell Valentine. His first call.
Kansas looks a little frustrated right now against Wichita State's man-to-man defense. It's a lot of sloughing defense. They're getting a lot of offside help.
We have a timeout called in the Superdome with 15:01 left in the first half. Our score here in the Louisiana Superdome, Wichita State Shockers 10, the Jayhawks of Kansas 7.
Jerry Arrott.
Little one-on-one.
Again, this is NCAA Midwest Regional Action, Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, Wichita State and Kansas in the early going. Kansas has hit 3 out of 8 shots from the floor. Wichita 5 out of 10. We're telling Larry Conley is on the boards.
No doubt about it. Wichita State already with 7 rebounds. Kansas with only 3.
The score, Wichita State 10, Kansas 7. That's been the biggest lead so far here in the first half. 3-point lead that Wichita held before. Kansas led briefly at a point.
I would imagine Kansas is depending a lot on their trap defense here, their full court trapping zone. Wichita State has thrown the ball away 1 time against it. Let's see how they handle it this time.
Papke, the freshman, to Smithson, to Jay Jackson. Outside, Papke, now Smithson. Papke on the wing. Jackson, Smithson. Antoine Carr on the post, gets it up in a hurry and hits. Antoine Carr has a half dozen points. How about the fact that Antoine Carr and this guy, Darnell Valentine, played a year together in high school at Wichita Heights?
Wouldn't be a bad ball club.
Valentine travels. Well, he won't turn it over much, about 2 or 3 times a ball game, and that's not much considering how much he handles the ball. And you're going to see some bionic thighs. Look at that young man. There's his coach, Ted Owens, and his high school coach right next to him, Lafayette Norwood, now an assistant at Kansas. Jay Jackson from Valley Falls, Kansas, to Carl Papke. And that's Cliff Livingston down the lane. Shot didn't go. Jay Jackson inside, tries to reverse it. And we have the ball out of bounds to Kansas. I think he went up and got it against the bottom of the board, Larry.
Yeah, it did. It hit the brace in the back. turned around and went the other way. It looked like Papke had a clean shot inside, but he hit the back of the brace.
Kansas with the basketball, and incidentally, Antoine Carr of Wichita now 3 for 3 from the field, 12-7. Wichita by 5. Tony Guy tries to change out and misses, and he has been the hottest shooter in NCAA play this year.
What made him miss that shot, Fred? He started to pass, then decided to shoot while he was in midair.
He has hit 18 for 25 shots in NCAA play up until tonight. Magley clears the rebound as Wichita misses, and both ball clubs having problems right now in the early going. Magley from long range, short with a try, and Kansas doesn't seem to be getting very organized on offense.
Kansas looks very, very cold. They're not moving at all. Their offense is very stagnant.
Wichita State in white attacking Kansas here in the Louisiana Superdome with 13:25 left in the first half. Wichita getting the best of it in the early going. They lead Kansas here 12-7 in NCAA Midwest regional action. Darnell Valentine with a missed shot. Kansas Tony Guy shot block.
Oh, what a block by Carr.
Woo-hoo.
I'll tell you, Wichita State showing me a lot of composure, Fred. They're playing really well here in the early going.
Not a surprise there. Antoine Carr has blocked 61 shots this year coming to this game. Now Kansas gets it right back. Valentine to Guy against Papke. He's fouled. Carl Papke committing the personal foul, his second. And
Foul is on number 40
on Wichita.
We saw earlier, here's Guy going in for the layup.
Foul number 5.
Look at that Carr get up. Tremendous block. We saw him stuff one. He can also reject them. Great player for Wichita State.
Kansas has a guy who can block him too, and Johnny Crawford. He will make the block, the occasional big play for him. He has 51 blocks this year. Crawford hasn't been involved that much. Magley hardly at all for Kansas. Tony Guy getting his first point of the ball game. Number 66 junior from Towson, Maryland.
You know, it would appear at least on offense for Wichita State. Obviously, they want to go inside to Carr and Livingston. Kansas is doing a good job of keeping that zone back, but they've been able to get it in once that first initial wave goes by.
There's Tony Martin, number 21, who has been a starter for Wichita, out of the starting lineup tonight with a bad back. But on the floor for the first time, Guy misses the free throw. Jay Jackson rebounds for Wichita. The Shockers leading here by 4 with 12:45 left in the first half.
We're a little surprised to see Tony Martin out there tonight.
Yeah, we didn't think they were going to bring him to Louisiana. There he is, and he's playing. Randy Smithson, Tony Martin, Jay Jackson.
I don't think it's any secret the game plan that Wichita State has. They just want to rotate Livingston and Carr inside till they can find an opening. They're just rotating back and forth across that center line. Here's Valentine with a steal.
Deflects it, hits the deck, and he's going to be called for traveling as he slid along the floor.
Violation. Shockers ball.
Good hustle by the youngster. He really got after it that time. He fought it all the way out there, just couldn't gain his balance and slid across the floor.
Turnovers now charged to Kansas. There's Randy Smithson. A little too strong. Livingston. Top of the circle, Martin. Jay Jackson down inside. Livingston partially deflected. He's got it again. Back up, and he hits. Cliff Livingston staying with it. His 4th point. And Wichita now up 15. Let's make that 14-8. A 6-point lead for the Shockers. Art Halsey, no. But Kansas getting nothing inside against Wichita.
Wichita State in total control of this basketball game.
Antoine Carr, shot rejected by Art Halsey. Whistle blows. And a foul called against Wichita. Victor Mitchell's going to check into the Kansas lineup.
Foul on number 35, Antoine
You're going to see the biggest player you've seen this year. That's Victor Mitchell. He is 6'9". They list him at 265.
Victor Mitchell.
It's about 280. Big fella. He started most of the season. Has had some bad knees. There's Gene Smithson, the Wichita coach, in his 3rd year at the Shocker helm. Here comes Kansas with the basketball.
Looks like Martin's going to try to keep pressure on Valentine. He picked him up full court.
Valentine, shot good. Darnell has 5 points.
And that's the way you handle pressure. When you're a senior and you come along and you play for 4 years with the Jayhawks, you know how to handle that kind of defense. Kansas a little bit, they're just flirting with that press right now. They pulled it back. Didn't really press Wichita State like they did earlier here in the first half.
Jay Jackson on the baseline, and he hits. Jay Jackson, 6'7" junior with his first 2 points, and Wichita continues to hold the lead. They're up 16-10. There's Magley along the lane. Shoves it underneath to Mitchell. Shot good. Victor Mitchell comes off the bench to get a quick 2 for Kansas.
David Magley made an awful nice pass that time inside to Mitchell to get him the basketball and get it in.
16-12, Wichita. Up by 4. Jackson looked at Livingston, couldn't get him. Jay Jackson all alone passes up the shot.
Carr's got to be a little bit careful. He has 2 fouls on him now. He doesn't want to draw that third one because he'll have to go sit down, and they can't afford to have him out of the basketball game.
Wichita's committed 16 fouls. Kansas just one with 10:29 left in the first half. There's another turnover charge to Wichita. Valentine against Smithson. Didn't get it. Livingston comes away with it for Wichita. Shocker still up by 4.
Kansas really having tough luck on their shots.
Carr.
Notice how deep Kansas zone is. Darnell Valentine's on the top of the circle, but everybody else has got 1 foot in the painted area.
Jay Jackson, Tony Martin dropped it. His Kansas guards, Guy and Valentine, 1-2 in the Big 8 Conference in steals this year. Valentine the leader, Guy right behind him. Jackson misses. Magley rebounds for Kansas.
Kansas looks content to let Jackson take that shot out there. He's hit 2 of them on him.
Tony Guy against Jay Jackson. Jackson seals the baseline. Now to Victor Mitchell. Martin has got a bad back. He's got a tough job defending Valentine, and his shot is good. You're going to have to be pretty mobile to guard that guy. Valentine has 7, and there's the Kansas fans celebrating in the Superdome. 16-14.
If you had to give Darnell Valentine an A on any kind of move he's got, an A would go to that penetration move and that short 12-foot jump shot. He is excellent at that.
Jackson tried to shovel it to Livingston, and a Shockers turn it over for the 7th time here in the first half. And Kansas with a chance to get a tie.
Not Jackson's fault. It was right to Livingston. He just dropped it.
Valentine 3 for 4 from the floor in this ball game after that last shot. This is Halsey trying it and getting it, and the ball game is tied. Kansas has caught Wichita with 9 minutes left in the first half here in the Louisiana Superdome.
Kansas making a little bit of a comeback. Halsey with a nice short jumper inside off the glass.
Randy Smithson, Tony Martin. Wichita has hit a little roll here. They're up by 6. Now the game is tied.
On offense, watch Wichita State rotate Carr and Livingston. They're just trying to find an opening inside that Kansas zone. And all Smithson and Martin and Jackson are doing is trying to find them when they make that move.
Started doing this 2 games ago when their center Ozell Jones was declared ineligible for this season and next. Tony Martin's shot doesn't go.
Good tip.
Antoine Carr, he has 8.
Well, that was a super move. He came from the other block, the power block across the lane, and tipped it in on the other side. Antoine Carr's played a great first half.
He is 4 for 4 from the floor in this ball game now with his 8 points. 18-16 Wichita. 8-12 left in the first half in the Superdome. Valentine penetrates. Shot's going to count, I believe. It'll be a blocking foul. A blocking foul on Cliff Livingston, and let's see if the basket counts. It does. Darnell Valentine trying to bring Kansas back has 9. An opportunity now to put Kansas in front. Livingston draws his first foul. Kansas in a 1-1 now with 8:09 left in the first half, and Larry Kansas has committed only 1 foul.
You know, it's an interesting thing. Darnell Valentine had the opportunity to use Victor Mitchell, the big mountain on the right that time, and chose to go left. And when he did, he simply went inside, and Livingston jumped over in front of him as he went up for the shot. Here's his free throw.
Valentine missed the free throw attempt. Antoine Carr with the ball for Wichita. Still tied at 18. Shockers of Wichita State, the Jayhawks of Kansas. Later tonight here in the Louisiana Superdome, it's going to be LSU against Arkansas with up to 35,000 expected. Here in this game, 7:45 now left in the first half. Kansas in blue, Wichita State in white, leading 20-18. Darnell Valentine, Victor Mitchell, shot blocked by Antoine Carr, his second block of the first half. There's Tony Guy right back, didn't get it. Tip try by Halsey, no good. Magley battling, and he is fouled by Jay Jackson, and the Shockers may be headed for foul trouble. Their 8th foul of the first half with 7:30 left in the first half. Wichita State 20, Kansas 18.
Kansas definitely in the driver's seat when it comes to fouls right now. They've only committed 1 so far. Wichita State, as you said, Fred, has 8. That could be a real deciding factor going down the end, especially since Antoine Carr has 2, and they cannot afford to lose him.
Mike Jones in the ball game now for Wichita State. Number 33 in white is back to the camera. He has replaced Jay Jackson. Carl Papke coming back on the floor. Tony Martin's going to sit down. Tony Martin, who has been a starting guard all year for the Shockers, averaging 13 points a game, battling the bad back here tonight. Dave Magley on the line. 6'7" junior from South Bend, Indiana's LaSalle High School. Free throw good. 84% shooter is Magley.
You know, we talk a lot about this Kansas ball club, but Magley's been a real consistent performer for this club all year long. He always averages about 10 points. He'll get you 5 or 6 rebounds. He has started every game for Kansas.
You know, he's been a perimeter player, but he does get those 6 rebounds a ball game, and now we have a timeout on the floor with 7 minutes, 30 seconds left in first half play in the Louisiana Superdome. Wichita State 20, Kansas 20. This telecast is presented by authority of the NCAA, and use of this program without written consent is prohibited. The announcers for this program have been approved and contracted by NCAA Productions.
And with 7:30 here to go in the first half, we're going to look at some quick stats. Kansas 8 of 18 and 44%. Wichita State 10 of 22 for 45%. Amazingly, Wichita State has 18 rebounds, and I know Gene Smithson, the coach right there, is very happy about that. Kansas has 8 rebounds.
Wichita's led throughout most of this first half by as many as 6. Kansas up by 1 briefly. We're tied at 20 all now. Fred White, along with Larry Conley, the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Midwest regional action.
Wichita State has really not been affected by this Kansas press. They threw it away early in the first half here, but since then, they've been able to get through the press without any trouble.
State of Kansas holding a distinction this year. There's Mike Jones with a shot first. It doesn't go. Rebound to Dave Magley for Kansas. All 3 Division I teams in Kansas are in NCAA postseason play. That's only the 6th time that's happened in NCAA history. No state has ever had more than 4 in, and Kansas only has 3 teams to get there. Randy Smithson had a notion, now shovels inside. Livingston, strong move. Halsey fouled him. First foul on Art Halsey, only the 2nd foul on Kansas in the first half here tonight. Kansas seems to have been hesitant all night long, Larry. They don't seem to be that aggressive. And I wonder maybe if Ted Owens, and not trying to play down the fact that they're meeting Wichita here tonight, might have diffused them just a bit too much, and we'll have to bring them back up a little bit in this game.
Well, obviously in the state of Kansas, this is an awfully big basketball game tonight. Wichita State, not having played them for 26 years, really would get the opportunity here to come maybe one-upsmanship in the state right then, even though K-State is still playing.
And I know Ted Owens has probably tried to downplay that a bit this week. Livingston hits the free throw. He has 5 points. You might wonder about that black armband. That's for their center, Ozell Jones, who was declared ineligible last week. Free throw, Livingston, good. They have a little black ribbon on their shoulder, you may have noticed before.
And Wichita State comes back and gives Kansas some of their own medicine. A good press, a little more aggressive than the Kansas press.
Magley to Guy to Booty Neal, who's in the game for Darnell Valentine right now for Kansas. Booty Neal, ordinarily the zone record for the Jayhawks. Booty Neal from the corner comes off the bench and hits.
What caused that was Papke getting lost on the inside. He tried to come in and help in the middle, and when he did, Guy got to the baseline and got the wide open jumper.
Was a Guy 22-22 tie here with 6:19 left in first half play. Mike Jones, Carl Papke for Wichita. Now Randy Smithson. Papke wants Antoine Carr at the baseline. Fadeaway jumper, little short. Art Halsey clears the rebound for the Jayhawks in Kansas.
Sometimes, Fred, you can push it in a little bit too much. They were really looking for Carr and Livingston that time. Kansas knows where the basketball is going to go, and they can just adjust their defense inside to make that change so they won't get it inside.
That was Carr's first miss. That's Booty Neal. Booty Neal now 2 for 2 since coming off the bench. He has 4 points now.
And Kansas now has the lead.
24-22, Jayhawks with 5:35 left in the first half. Randy Smithson, Mike Jones, they move it around the Kansas zone. Kansas finished in a tie for 3rd in the Big 8 regular season, came on and won the postseason tournament championship.
Good soft touch by Cliff Livingston that time. He got it inside, and Papke found him.
Livingston has 6 and a 24-24 tie.
The strategy is so very simple for Wichita State. It's Livingston, it's Carr, nothing else.
Guy shot good. Tony Guy right back gets his first field goal of the ball game after scoring 36 the last time out against Arizona State. He has 3 in the first half tonight.
Guy might be warming up. He got the baseline jumper, and he got the good one then.
Lob feed inside. Livingston, reverse shot, good. Cliff Livingston now has 10 points for Wichita. 26-26 tie with 4:41 left in the first half. Darnell Valentine set to re-enter the lineup for Kansas. Tony Martin for Wichita. Shockers out with Missouri Valley, the regular season champions, finished 2nd in the postseason tournament. Booty Neal misses the shot. Carl Papke for Randy Smithson. Antoine Carr, he and Livingston doing all the shooting for the Shocker Ball Club, and there's a foul called down inside.
You know, it would seem very obvious, at least from the defensive standpoint for Kansas. If they're going to run that 2-3 zone, they really need to plug that middle up a little bit more.
John Crawford set to the end of the Kansas lineup. That foul was on Victor Mitchell, his first for Kansas. Tony Guy is going to take a breather now for the Jayhawks. Art Housey sits down. Darnell Valentine is back in. Antoine Carr will shoot 2 on the free throw line for the first time tonight. It's 77% free throw shooter. Has 9. This is the 5th meeting in history between the two schools. Kansas has won all 4 previous meetings, including that last meeting in 1955 when they dedicated Henry Levin Arena in Wichita. Kansas won it by a point.
Number 21, Tony Martin.
Wichita defeated Southern University 95-70 and Iowa 60-56 to get here to the regional. Kansas defeating Mississippi 69-66 and Arizona State 88-21. Now, foul called on Tony Martin at the other end of the floor. First foul on Martin.
Wichita,
19 fouls against Wichita.
Wichita State's very fortunate to have Martin playing out there because he gives them a little more quickness at guard that they don't have when Papke's in there. He's a much better player. He's been averaging almost 13 points a game for this club this year. He has a protruded disc, and we didn't know whether he was going to be able to play right up until game time.
Valentine's free throw is good. Darnell now 2 for 4 at the line, 10 points in this contest. He's the only Kansas player that has scored more than 4. With the Wichita front line simply dominating Kansas. Magley has 2 points, Crawford 2, and Housey 4. Valentine scores again. I think you called it on the nose in the pregame. Well, we'll talk more about that in a moment. Right now, we have a timeout called in the Superdome with 4 minutes and 3 seconds left in the first half to score. Kansas 28, Wichita State 27. Again, 4:03 left in the first half. Here are the score. Kansas 28, Wichita State 27. Larry Conley, I started to say you hit it on the nose in pregame when you talked about the power of Wichita's front line and Kansas having it in the backcourt. Antoine Carr here with 9 points. Cliff Livingston with 10, 19 points for Wichita to the front line. Kansas has 2 from Magley, 2 from Crawford, and 4 from Art Housey. So they have scored 8 among the 3 of them. Wichita has now 19 from Livingston and Carr and throw in 2 for Jay Jackson.
Shooting has been slightly off. 11 of 24 for Kansas, 45%. Wichita State 12 of 26 for 46. Kansas has narrowed the rebounding gap. They now have 11. Wichita State 19.
Ed Owens very calmly on the Kansas bench on the far side of the court looking on. Down the lane. Foul is going to be called against John Crawford of Kansas. He went up to try to block Livingston's shot. Draws his first personal foul, just the 4th team foul on the Jayhawks. 3:41 left in the first half. There's John Crawford, the 6'7" senior from Kansas City, Missouri.
I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind who's watching this on television or the thousands of people who are here in the Superdome where the basketball is going to go on offense for Wichita State. And Victor Mitchell that time, Mount St. Helens, if you will, inside is simply so big. I don't know why they don't keep the ball out of there, but they're having a very difficult time keeping it away from Livingston and Carr.
Livingston hunting his 11th point. Gets it. His average 19. He's averaging 11 rebounds a ball game. Wichita State averaging 81 points a game, giving it up only 66. Free throw try short. Valentine picks up the rebound. 28-28 tie. Valentine to Mitchell down the lane.
Good pass from Valentine and a nice move by Mitchell. He showed he's got some agility for a guy his size. He stopped, went up. That's a tough shot to make, Fred. When you're going full speed and you're about 3 feet from the basket, you pull up and shoot it.
4 points, Victor Mitchell. Shot good by Mike Jones.
Basket by Mike Jones.
2 points, Mike Jones. 3:16 left in the first half. 30-30 tie. Starting to heat up a little bit, Larry. Neil Magley, he's alone from the baseline. Game 10 tie. Dave Magley gets his first field goal, his 4th point.
And Jones just threw it away.
Booty Neal for Kansas needs some help. Gets John Crawford. Turnover number 9 charge for Wichita. 2:47. There you see the time left. Victor Mitchell jams it inside and gets a jam back. Cliff Livingston. And now Victor Mitchell fouls him. Second foul on Mitchell. 2:42 left in the first half. You're looking at Darnell Valentine.
Number 55, Victor Mitchell. That's his first.
That's Victor Mitchell, number 55.
You know, Fred, that's only the 4th foul against Kansas right now. Wichita State over the limit, shooting the 1-on-1. Let's watch it again. You're going to see Mitchell. He hardly gets off the ground right here. He gets up in the air just a little bit, and that's what Livingston and Carr came from the other side to get the basketball. He's the one who actually blocked it.
Third block this half, Larry.
Well, he's a great player. I mean, we talked about it at the top, and those two fellas inside. You can watch it this time. Everybody's going to know where the ball is going. There's where it should go. Smithson, he's had a good first half. He shot the ball well. All 3 of his field goals have been from about 18 feet against that Kansas zone.
Randy Smithson. 4 out of 5 from the floor we have him now. Game tied at 32. Rudy Neal missing from the corner. The ball out of bounds belongs to Kansas under their own basket with 2:13 left in the first half. Art Housing returning to the Kansas lineup now. Number 54, John Crawford sits down. This game has not been an emotional game, Larry.
It really hasn't. And I think a lot of that is because of the size of this place. It really takes the intimacy away from the game. It's not to say that it is going to be a vocal crowd. It is a vocal crowd, but you've got a much larger crowd. You may have 10 or 12,000 people in here from Kansas and Wichita State, but it's very difficult to see them in this atmosphere.
Darnell Valentine threw it up off balance and threw it clear over the apparatus. Not much he could do about it, really. He cleared the backboard with it. They're going to play the Final Four here next year in the Louisiana Superdome. They're going to sell 60,000 tickets for the championship round here next year. They expect nearly 35,000 in here before this night is over. In the second game, LSU will take on Arkansas.
You see Jackson, he looks for the car. Outside, Martin looks for Carr. Here comes Livingston across. Here goes Martin.
Tony Martin shot, no good. Ball battled around inside, and Victor Mitchell claims it for Kansas. Valentine, Booty Neal, short jumper baseline, short with a try. Neal and Housey had it for a moment. Smithson digging for Wichita. The ball out of bounds to Kansas. 32-32 tie, 1:22 left.
Tony Guy came down that time, was right at the baseline, was going to go up for a jumper, and he saw Antoine Carr out of the corner of his eye. Good peripheral vision. Gene Smithson right there was very upset with that call. He thought his Wichita State Shockers should have gotten the ball.
Darnell Valentine inside Victor Mitchell. He tried to jam it, missed it, and he's going to get a technical foul for hanging on the rim.
He got it blocked the last time by Carr. That time he was going to make sure and try to get up and get it stuffed, and that time Livingston and Carr went up for the block. He went up and grabbed the rim. You'll see it right here. Here comes the pass inside. It'll be thrown. Watch him right here. Valentine makes the good pass. He gets it, lets it go, grabs a hold of the rim.
Again, Antoine Carr was up there to change the trajectory of things. Randy Smithson hits the free throw. He has 9 points in the first half now. 1:17 left in this half. Wichita State now leading 33-32. And the Shockers with a chance to complete a 3-point play after the technical foul on Victor Mitchell for hanging on the rim.
What do you think, Fred? Pull it out and sit on it. You've got a little over a minute to play in the first half. That's what Wichita State's going to do. Pretty good offense right now. Just pull it out and make Kansas come after them. Ted Owens up, making his defensive assignments. Everybody's picked up a man. They'll go man-to-man the rest of the half.
Randy Smithson outside, gives to Cliff Livingston. 53 seconds left in the half. There's a layup there. They'll take it. Otherwise, they want the last shot of this half. Wichita State with a 1-point lead as we approach halftime. First meeting in 26 years between the Shockers of Wichita State and the Jayhawks of Kansas. Ted Owens again saying to his ball club, you can see him across the way. Go out and put pressure on him. 35 seconds. There's your clock. Left in first half play. NCAA Midwest Regional action. Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. A magnificent structure. Later tonight, LSU and Arkansas.
I think we can safely assume that the Shockers are going to get out of here with at least a 1-point lead at halftime, and they'd love to have 3. Let's see what kind of shot they've got. We've got almost 10 seconds to go.
There you see the clock counting down. Wichita State leading by 1. Tony Martin, Randy Smithson, shot no good. Ball is out of bounds to Kansas with 4 seconds left. Mike Jones got a hand on it, but could not save it for Wichita. And the Jayhawks are going to get a crack at it here. They've got 4 seconds on that clock.
That's a lot of time. They can get a decent shot out of this if they'll get it up the floor quickly. They need to get to midcourt quick, then 1 or 2 quick dribbles.
And it comes Valentine quickly to midcourt.
Gotta go.
By Antoine Carr down the lane. Floating layup, no good. And the ball now out of bounds, and there's the end of the first half. And the score at the end of 1 half of action here in the Louisiana Superdome has been tight throughout the first half. Wichita led by as many as 6, Kansas by as many as 2, and at halftime, there's your score. Wichita State 33, Kansas 30. 32. Midwest Regional, the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. The second game tonight, LSU against Arkansas. The Shockers 33, Kansas 32 at halftime. Wichita led by Anton Carr with 11, Cliff Livingston with 11, Anton Carr with 9 here at halftime. Again, there's your halftime score. The Shockers of Wichita State in front of Kansas, 33-32. We pause now for a local station break. This is an NCAA Productions telecast.
At halftime, Wichita State 33, Kansas 32. We've got a second game coming up here in the Midwestern Regional later on this evening, and I have the coach of the Arkansas Razorbacks, Eddie Sutton. And Eddie, I've got to ask you the
We're at halftime here in the Louisiana Superdome with Wichita State leading Kansas 33-32. Dave Hart, the athletic director at the University of Missouri, and a member of the NCAA basketball committee here with us here at halftime. And Dave, obviously the committee did a good job in picking the 48 teams. All you have to do is look and see what's happened so far. The balance has obviously been there.
Well, I think the committee did a great job under the circumstances. We didn't say it's the greatest 48 teams, but we said under the circumstances with automatic buys and picking the best of large teams we could, that we put a good field together, and anybody in a tournament can beat anybody.
I tell you, the site we're looking at here in this Louisiana Superdome tonight is going to be the largest crowd ever to see a postseason basketball game, somewhere around 35,000. I'll tell you what, this is what college basketball is about. It's exciting in here this evening.
Well, I think it's one of the greatest spectacles in athletics, and I think this facility is tremendous. And next year we anticipate about 60 to 62,000 people here, Fred. And as you know, tonight there's between 32 and 35. It could be maybe 40. And if LSU should win tonight, it could be gosh knows what. But it's a great facility. It's great for college basketball. And we go to, we come here next year for the finals, and we go to New Mexico, and then we go to the Kingdome and then to Rupp Arena.
Well, they'll be thrilling all the way down the line, especially here tonight. Again, 35,000 on hand. Dave Hart, congratulations to you and the committee. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Fred. Thank
Dave Hart, a member of the NCAA basketball committee. Halftime score, Wichita State 33, Kansas 32. We pause now for a message from the NCAA.
Howard K. Smith.
We'll be back in a moment for the start of the second half. Right now, these messages. It's the 1981 NCAA Basketball Championship from the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans. It's the Kansas Jayhawks against the Shockers of Wichita State. Brought to you by Budweiser. All you do, this Bud's for you.
NCAA basketball, the Wichita State Shockers versus the Kansas University Jayhawks, is brought to you by Card TV3 and the Kansas State Network, and by the many fine sponsors whose commercial announcements are seen throughout the telecast. We hope you enjoyed tonight's live sports action from New Orleans, the first round of the NCAA Western Regional Playoffs.
Again, Fred White along with Larry Conley, the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans, NCAA Midwest Regional action at halftime. Wichita State 33, Kansas 32. There's the Kansas Jayhawks in the background, and here is how it happened in the first half.
And Kansas 13 of 32 for a very poor 40.6%. Wichita State, on the other hand, 14 of 30 for a little bit better 46.7. Free throws 6 of 9 for Kansas, 5 of 7 for Wichita State. The biggest thing on these stats right now is the rebounding. Wichita State leading 20 to 13. The turnovers, Wichita State has 9, Kansas 3, and of those 3 that Kansas has, Darnell Valentine has 3 of them, and that's a rare thing indeed.
About as many as he averages in a ball game. There you see the foul situation. Wichita State committed 9, Kansas 5 the first half. Nobody in trouble. Nobody has over 2. There's Gene Smith and the Wichita coach. Larry, the one thing that has surprised me, it has been an unemotional ball game, and you would think, especially from the Wichita standpoint, after waiting 26 years, as much as they've wanted Kansas all these years, that we would have seen more emotion of it. Both clubs have had it very much under control. Lob feed, Antoine Carr from Smithson decided not to take it. It's been a tight ball game. Smithson misses. Tip try by Antoine Carr, or rather Cliff Livingston, and he was fouled.
Now let's pick up the foul again. Let's see how it occurred right here. You see Halsey make the pivot and turn and go for the basket. Here go the rebounders up. Looks like the foul's on Halsey. He kind of moved Livingston out with his elbow as he went through.
Second foul on Art Halsey. Wichita State still has the basketball, still leading by one, just underway with second half action. Jay Jackson from 15, no good. Magley clears the rebound for Kansas. Up come the Jayhawks. Tony Guy had a notion, pulls it back out of the circle, now works on
nice move.
There's a mismatch in size. The shot doesn't go. Guy had the mismatch set up down in the circle, and the foul is called against Tony Guy.
40, John Crawford.
No, check it. Johnny Crawford, the second foul on Crawford. Wichita gets the ball back. 19:28 left in the game. Shockers leading Kansas 33-32.
Kansas a little more aggressive with their press here in the second half. Halsey really pressuring Martin. Here's the ball out of bounds. Who gets it? Kansas.
Tony Martin just lost it out of bounds. The Shockers turn it over. It's number 10 in the turnover department for Wichita.
Art Halsey, the big youngster from Bronx, New York, 6'10", really pressed Martin that time, forced the turnover.
Last night, Kansas State defeated Illinois, so 3 Kansas teams alive right now, but one of them's going to have to go in this one. Art Halsey, it hung so tantalizingly on the rim, would not go, and here comes Wichita. Boy, sometimes you look back and wish you had that one back later on. 33-32, Wichita State. Martin Smithson, Jay Jackson. Looks in a car. Boy, they want Livingston or Carr and not much more. That time, Tony Martin missed. Jay Jackson went after it aggressively, but knocked it out of bounds. It belongs to Kansas.
Kansas has no problem at all with allowing Jay Jackson to take that shot over there. I don't think they feel like he can make that shot. And he so far has proven them right.
Been a 46% shooter on the year. He's playing a different role as a starter now than he was coming off the bench. Darnell Valentine in and out. Jayhawks having tough shooting luck. Art Halsey tips the rebound out of bounds, and now Wichita gets it back. Art Halsey had one that hung on the rim, wouldn't drop. Darnell Valentine got one down that came back out, and now you look at the Kansas bench. Ted Owens in the middle.
They're really having tough luck. Kansas is on their shots. They just cannot get the ball to go down.
Mike Jones moves against Tony Guy for Wichita. 18:25 left in the ball game. Randy Smithson knocks one down for the Shockers. He has 11. 35-32 Shockers.
Smithson has done a good job against that Kansas zone. He's the one guy they can't let shoot from the outside.
Tony Guy in and out. Cliff Livingston had Smithson up court. Decided not to try to thread the needle with the pass. Gives it up to Tony Martin. Smithson.
Good pass.
Livingston with an outstanding feed, and he's going to be called for traveling. The ball goes back to Kansas. There you see Livingston's reaction to the call.
Randy Smithson really made a nice pass that time. As Livingston came inside, he floated down to the power block, tried to get the ball up, but he walked before he got in position to make the move.
Larry, I know the people in Illinois like to say they think they have the best forwards in the country, but I'll tell you, when Livingston and Carr were both playing forwards and Jones at center, I got to think that Wichita maybe had an edge as good as the Illinois forwards were. Magley, 6. Well, who's to say? I'd like to have either set of them, I'll tell you.
I'd take this set right here. I haven't had a chance to see Illinois play, but I have seen Wichita State, and they've got a great pair right here.
I believe they're a little stronger physically, perhaps. Livingston walked with it. That's a 12 turnover charge to Wichita. Now 17:33 left in NCAA Midwest Regional action in Louisiana's Superdome. Fred White along with Larry Conley as the score. Wichita State leading Kansas 35-34. Later tonight in the Superdome, LSU against Arkansas. Valentine walks the ball back to Wichita with 17:20 left in the game. Wichita State still leading Kansas 35-34.
Jitters really ought to be gone by now. We've seen 3 turnovers, 2 by Wichita State on traveling, that time by Valentine on traveling. He's had 4 turnovers, and that's very rare for that fine guard for the Jayhawks.
We have a timeout call here in the Louisiana Superdome. 17:20 left in the game. Wichita State 35, Kansas 34.
This Bud's for the guys who got what it takes to shake, rattle, and keep on rolling.
This Bud's for you, for all you do. The King of Beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Preparing for the future is something.
Superdome, New Orleans, Louisiana, NCAA Midwest Regional action. Fred White along with Larry Conley. With 17:20 left in our game, Wichita State leading Kansas 35-34. The biggest lead in the ball game has been 6, held by Wichita. Kansas led by a couple. There's Gene Smithson, the Shocker coach. His club with the basketball and a chance to bump the lead to 3. It has been a tight ball game throughout.
Kansas again throwing up that controlled press. They're just trying to find an opening to try to make an interception or a double team. Wichita State has not given them the opportunity, but about twice in this game.
Tony Martin, Mike Jones.
There it is, inside.
Livingston, that ball hit Housey right in the face. Tony Guy committed the personal foul. The ball pried loose from Livingston. Tony Guy, after prying it loose, it got Housey right in McKisser. First foul on Tony Guy.
Foul number 3.
It has been a cleanly played contest. Haven't been that many fouls in it. That's 3 team fouls on Kansas in the second half. Wichita State hasn't been called for one in this half yet.
I tell you, both these clubs have come out here just to play what they consider another game. You know, the fans probably look at it from a different standpoint, as we see Livingston make his first free throw. But the players come out and they attack this game much like they do any other game. I mean, this is a Midwestern Regional of the NCAA play. All they want to do is come out so they can advance to the next game.
Cliff Livingston is perfect at the free throw line, 5 for 5, has 13 points in the contest, and Wichita now leads by 3. 16:52 left in this game.
Good press. Good press.
Trouble. Now they've got Tony Guy 2-time. Here's Valentine. And he walked to the ball as he tried to shovel it down inside to Housey, and the Shocker press putting pressure on him.
Fred, that's 5 turnovers for Darnell Valentine here in this game.
And for Kansas, a total of 8. Shocker press paid a dividend. Antoine Carr, weak pass to Jones, touched by Guy out of bounds. They give it to Wichita. But Jones made a lazy pass that time, and it almost cost Wichita State, but they still have the basketball and a 3-point lead.
We played about 3.5 minutes, and the play here in the second half so far has been a little bit sloppy. Neither club has warmed up to the task.
Antoine Carr, in and out.
Good hustle by Martin that time. He got inside and took it away from Valentine.
Wichita starting to dominate things just a little bit as Mike Jones knocks it down. He has 4. Shockers winning the loose ball battles, and some little things that add up to big things starting to happen now.
Here comes another steal, almost. Martin, Valentine got it back.
Valentine resisted the pressure, gives it back to Crawford. He gets it.
Nice shot that time. Valentine went inside, looked back over his shoulder and saw Crawford open. And again, that's a tough shot to pull up and take that short 4 or 5 foot jump shot.
Kansas needed those 2. Crawford got him. Here's Livingston floating down the lane. Shot doesn't go, and look at Crawford. High to get the rebound for Kansas.
Good board that time by Crawford.
Jayhawks down by 3. Magley all alone from the baseline. Missed. Randy Smithson wins the rebound battle from Tony Guy and throws it away. But we've got a foul called on Darnell Valentine of Kansas. The second foul on Valentine as they cross the midcourt.
Darnell Valentine, that's his second foul.
You know, the irony of that call is the fact that he threw the basketball away.
Yes.
He really did not have to do that. He threw the ball away just prior to Valentine jumping in front of him. Otherwise, Kansas would have had the ball. Let's watch it again. You'll see Valentine make the move. See, he stepped over in front of him. The ball was all the way out of bounds.
Wichita still has it. Smithson off the baseline. That kid has been shooting well tonight. Randy Smithson now has 13 points in the ball game.
Wichita State crowd really coming alive now.
Smithson has hit 6 out of 9 shots in this ball game. He's a 52% shooter on the year. He's the coach's son. There's Tony Guy. He answers it for Kansas. Tony Guy only has 5 points in the contest.
That's smooth. I would tell you, he is a great player.
41-38. Magley almost forced the turnover. Wichita up by 3. They have the basketball. Valentine deflected it. Picked up by Guy to Valentine. And Kansas right back at him again.
That's a big play for the Jayhawks. They got back within 1.
Now the Kansas crowd across the way getting involved in it. 14:49 left in the game, and Kansas back within a point.
Let's watch the steal here at midcourt. Guy comes up, shoveled it to Valentine. Valentine got the lead and took it onto the basket.
14:49 left in this ball game. A timeout call with the score. Wichita State 41, Kansas 40. One of the Wichita State Shocker fans. Right now, Larry Conley, you can hear 4 different things in the Superdome. You can hear Go KU, Go Shockers, Blue Creek Suey, and LSU. Boy, they are cranking up in New Orleans right now.
We get a great first game here. Wichita State leading by 1. We got 14:49 to play. It hasn't really been too good of a second half so far. Wichita State 3 of 9 at 33%. Kansas 4 of 9 for 44%. But the big factor is Wichita State's 5 turnovers and Kansas has 2 in the second half.
Emotion's starting to pick up now for the first time tonight. The crowd's starting to get involved in this ball game, so maybe this game's starting to make up. James Gibbs is in the Shocker lineup. This is Mike Jones down inside. Livingston couldn't quite get it. Tip try, no good. Great effort by Livingston to no avail. Magley back for Kansas. Whoa. Back to Housey. Jumper, good. And Kansas back in front.
Jayhawks are marching. Here they come. That's 6 straight points they've scored. Wichita State has not answered.
Now Kansas starting to play with some emotion. Here's Valentine with a steal. To Magley off the baseline. No good. Rebound Livingston for Wichita. Kansas by 1. 14:07 left in this ball game.
Well, that could have been a big basket right there. If they'd have gotten that one down and been up by 3, the momentum really would have swung their way.
That was the 14th turnover charge to Wichita. Shockers attack the Kansas zone. Tony Gibbs, not a good shooter, but he hits this one. Rather, James Gibbs, I'm sorry. James Gibbs shooting only 31% from the floor for the year, but he got that one down. And Wichita back up by a point. 13:43 left in the ball game. James Gibbs, a 5'9" sophomore from Mount Vernon, New York. He's got a foul up at the other end of the floor.
Looks like Carr committed a foul against Crawford. If he did, that's his 3rd.
Fouls on number 35.
Antoine Carr, 3rd personal foul. First foul on Wichita in the second half. Kansas committed 4. There's Jay Jackson, the 6'7" junior, checking back in. Mike Jones sitting down for Wichita. John Crawford handling the inbounds pass for Kansas. Inside it comes to Valentine. The basket's going to count, and Antoine Carr committed his 4th foul.
Well, that's a big play right there.
That could change the entire complexion of the ball game.
Good play. Kansas got the good out-of-bounds play. They sneaked inside. Valentine kind of weaved his way inside among all that tall timber and went up with a strong move, and Carr got him on the arm as he started up.
There's Darnell Valentine with 15 points. Out comes Antoine Carr. Boy, just about 10 seconds ago, he was rolling along with only 2 fouls. Now he has 4, and he's going to sit down with 13:40 left in the game. And that has to hurt Wichita. It's been Carr and Livingston all night long.
That's a crucial foul for the Shockers. They need him in the lineup.
Valentine got it. 3-point play for Valentine. 16 in the ball game, and Kansas leads. 44-43 Jayhawks. The Shockers have only 2 of what was their starting 5 a week ago on the floor right now. Livingston to Papke, the freshman. Big shot for Papke.
Nice layup, and a good feed that time by Livingston. He got it to Papke inside.
45-45 tie now they have on the scoreboard with 13:15 left in this game. Still a long way to go. John Crawford had it knocked loose. Foul called.
Looks like Smithson got him as he started down the floor. He reached in and grabbed his arm.
The foul is on number 44,
Randy Smithson's
That's his
3rd personal foul. 3rd team foul on Wichita State in the second half. Kansas has been called for 4. Both teams have 4 timeouts left. Long way to go here tonight.
Right now, if you're Gene Smith's Wichita State, Fred, what you've got to be thinking about is, all right, I'm going to try to play this as close as I possibly can. I want to keep this game close for the next 4, 5, 6 minutes, then get Carr back in the basketball game. I'm sure that's what's on his mind, because having Carr out of there is a great detriment to their offense.
13:09 left in the basketball game as Antoine Carr sits down, and it happened. Bang, bang. He had 2 fouls, and a moment later he had 4 and was sitting on the bench.
It's really going to be crucial the way Wichita State plays here in the next 5 minutes.
Magley inside for 2. David Magley gets his 8th point in the ball game. 12:49 left now. Kansas leading Wichita State 47-45. NCAA Midwest Regional Action. LSU against Arkansas. The second game here tonight. 2 of 3 Kansas teams still alive. Kansas State last night beating Illinois, plays North Carolina tomorrow out in Salt Lake City, Utah. That was Cliff Livingston trying to take it over for Wichita. He now has 15, and there's your score.
47-47, and Wichita State needs to keep it close.
Valentine,
good feed.
Housey to Valentine.
That's the old give and go. That's the way you used to play it years ago. The guy gives it to one man, he breaks down the middle, gets it back, and puts it in. Beautiful basketball.
They were doing that play in leather knee pads. That sometimes things don't change that much. Jackson saves it for Wichita. Kansas leading by 2. 12 minutes left to go in the ball game. Smithson, he's a good shooter, but he's too strong with that try, and Crawford serves the rebound for Kansas. The Jayhawks' biggest lead tonight has been 2. They could make it 4 right here.
Kansas beginning to push the ball up the floor a little bit faster. They sense they may have a chance here with Livingston out of the game.
Guy took it over, couldn't get the shot, and we've got a foul against Carl Papke of Wichita State. The 3rd foul on Papke, the 6'6 freshman from Wichita West, number 40.
Foul is number 40.
Mike Jones back in the lineup now. Gene Smithson starting to juggle his lineup a lot. Papke's going to sit down. Jones, a 6'5 from Joliet, Illinois Central High School, checks in. 11:40 left in this basketball game. Kansas 49, Wichita State 47.
Seems like they can't make up their mind whose basketball it is right now.
Belongs to Kansas. Ted Owens up going to the scorer's table. I don't know what he's objecting to. His team has the basketball. Gene Smithson was up there also.
The foul was on Papke. It should be a common foul, and Kansas gets the basketball out of bounds. That's what it is.
Team fouls in the second half. Kansas 5, Wichita State. Oh, let's make it each 4. 14 fouls apiece now. Guy down low. That's what Ted Owens is objecting to. They had on the board. Halsey, no good. Tip try, Crawford, no good. And a foul called against Kansas. And I believe against Art Halsey from the look on his face. Johnny Crawford came crashing in from the outside that time.
Foul's on number 54.
But the foul is on Art Halsey, and that's his 3rd personal foul. And now Wichita could tie it here with 11:42 left in the game. Jackson and Mike Jones.
Kansas is a little more aggressive with their press right now. They're coming out a little further out. I tell you, Halsey's awfully quick. A guy 6'10 out front makes it very difficult on the passing lanes and trying to find somebody behind him. He really spreads out.
Livingston. Shot blocked by Crawford. Battle for at the baseline and out of bounds to Wichita. But Crawford got up and rejected one.
And that time we saw Crawford do the same thing Livingston and Carr have been doing to the Jayhawks.
Tony Martin, top of the circle. 11 minutes, 11 seconds left in the ball game. Livingston trying to tie. Good fake. Shot didn't go with Halsey with a rebound for Kansas, and that time Livingston having tough shooting luck for Wichita.
It could be turning the Jayhawks' favor right now. They got a chance to go up by 4 here.
Guy too strong with a try. Halsey tips it outside. Martin picks it up. Martin against Valentine in the lane. Lays it back for Mike Jones. Won't go. Tip try. Livingston no good. And rebound to Kansas and Art Halsey. And he's got Magley all alone down court.
Good fake.
Oh, he waited for Mike Jones to go flying by and got it. 10 points for Magley.
Jones should have had his cape on. He flew right by him.
That's the biggest lead Kansas has had tonight at 4 points. And we have a timeout taken by Wichita. And Cliff Livingston is on the floor and injured down at the other end of the court. And this is just about all that Wichita State needs. There's Ted Owens looking at the Kansas coach at the other end of the floor. Cliff Livingston is on the floor. I think he may have a cramp. He's holding his left thigh. There's the Wichita
Looks like his calf, Fred. He's got it down in the calf area.
Doug Vandersea is out looking at him, and I think that it's a cramp. Hopefully that's all it is.
Yeah, he's got a cramp in his muscle. It's down in the calf area, the lower part of the leg.
Boy, he's just about all that they have left. Now here comes Antoine Carr. He has 4 personal fouls. He's going to come back on the floor with 10:36 left in the game.
If Livingston goes out, they've got to have somebody else. And Carr coming in, he's got 4 fouls. But we still got way over 10 minutes to play here in the second half.
Antoine Carr reporting back, and there you see Cliff Livingston, the 6'8 sophomore from San Diego, who has 15 points in this ball game. And Livingston is going to leave the floor. And Larry, whatever else you say about Wichita, you've got to say that they have really been having to battle some adversity of late.
They have. You know, the loss of 2 key players. Really one. Martin's come out, but he really hasn't played, I don't think, up to his potential. At least what we've heard from the Wichita State press and the people who follow them for the year. They said Martin's been a key to this club. He really has played well for them all year.
Well, he really has, but he has the bad back, and he can't get it rolling here tonight. 10:36 left in this game. Kansas with their biggest lead of the night, 51-47, 4-point lead for the Jayhawks.
And Antoine Carr has to be somewhat subdued. He really can't go out and be too aggressive with 4 fouls.
He left the game at the 13:40 mark, back in with 10:36 to play. He didn't want to come out. When he did, he was saying no to the bench when they substituted for him. Tony Martin. Carr.
How did Smithson get that down?
Randy Smithson just tied this basketball game for Wichita with 10 minutes and 17 seconds to go. Check it, as Wichita down by 2 now with 10:15 to go, 51-49. Kansas leading the Shockers here in NCAA Midwest Regional Action in the Louisiana Superdome. The Shockers were down by 4 when Smithson got the drive, and now a foul at the other end of the floor, and Darnell Valentine will be on the line for Kansas with 10:15 left in this ball game.
What got Valentine to the line that time was his quickness. He made a turn, came across the lane, was going to go up for a layup, and Jackson just was not able to get there quick enough.
Second foul on Jade Jackson. Darnell Valentine. Free throws up good. Darnell Valentine now has 19 points for Kansas. He is starting his 118th game for the Jayhawks here tonight.
Well, you very rarely see that, a rebound that comes out and hits the floor.
Yes. 10 minutes, 6 seconds left in this basketball game. Kansas with a 3-point lead. Martin to Mike Jones. Shockers trying to hang in. Cliff Livingston appears to be okay on the Wichita State bench right now. Randy Smithson.
I would imagine next time down the floor, you'll see Livingston back in. Good shot by Martin.
Tony Martin just got his first 2 points of the basketball game with a jumper from the top of the key. Now 1-point lead for Kansas. 9:42 left in this game. Still a long way to go. Tony Guy against Smithson. Valentine to Guy to Crawford.
Nice move by Crawford. Good reverse layup. He couldn't get it on the other side, turned it, and went the other way.
He moved by Antoine Carr. He has 6 points, and now 54-51 Kansas. Smithson passed up the baseline jumper. Martin 2-time. Smithson. Shot partially blocked, knocked to the floor, picked up by Smithson. Now he's 2-time in the corner by Magley and Guy.
Oh, what a move by Carr.
Oh, Antoine Carr. Sensational move, and now he could tie the ball game if that basket counts, and I'm sure it will. It does.
What a move by Antoine Carr. He was cut off on the baseline, went back, reversed, went the other way, tried to get by the power block, got it inside, and laid it up with his left hand. Just an outstanding move.
And that was the 4th foul on John Crawford of Kansas, and Cliff Livingston back in the ball game for Wichita. And you can kind of feel the momentum slip a little bit Wichita's way now with that move. Antoine Carr has 11 points in this game, 1 for 1 at the line. Make it 2 for 2, gets the big 3-point play. And now we're tied at 54-54 with 9:04 to play.
And a good chance for Kansas to reestablish themselves right now. Valentine looking up. He finds Magley, and he's got the ball to Halsey over in the corner.
Valentine.
Looked like Wichita State was going to set up in a zone that time. Looks like they are in somewhat of a zone.
Trying to protect Antoine
good
Carr.
pass by Valentine. Oh, what a block.
Cliff Livingston blocked Halsey's shot, and here come the Shockers with a chance to go in front. Well, that's the kind of a play that can charge a ball club up.
I tell you, saw 2 great plays there. Valentine with a great pass, and Livingston with a great block.
8:28 left in this game. Jones short with a try, and Halsey clears the rebound for Kansas. Magley got nowhere to go. He's 1 on 4. Back in the lane, he's Crawford. He tried to dunk it, missed, and a foul is called. And Crawford dangerously close to hanging on the rim, and in fact was, and there's going to be a technical foul called. Foul against Wichita, technical foul against Kansas.
We've got some action here. Here's Magley coming in. He stops, pulls it up, looks out on the other side. Here comes Crawford for the stuff. He comes up hard, can't get the ball to come down. There's the foul, but we've also got a technical foul because Crawford grabbed the rim.
Cliff Livingston committed the foul, his second foul. Crawford will go to the free throw line. He'll shoot 2, but then Wichita State will get a free throw and the basketball. So Crawford will shoot the 2 on Livingston's foul, then we'll go to the other end. John Crawford missed. Crawford has a half dozen points in this game. He's a 73% free thrower. He could put Kansas up by 1. 7 points for John Crawford. Now we go to the other end. Randy Smithson will shoot the technical. That's a second hanging on the rim technical in this game. Randy Smithson has 15 points tonight, 1 for 2 at the line.
The technical foul is on number 40.
Game is tied. 55-55, 8:16 to play, and now Wichita State.
First the technical foul on free throw.
We'll get the ball out of bounds.
Wichita State ball.
Oh, the scoreboard says Kansas 55, Wichita 54. I think that scoreboard is so slow changing, I misread it a moment ago. I believe that score is correct. Kansas is up by 1, 55-54. Now Wichita could take the lead here.
Well, Wichita State being very, very careful with this basketball.
Livingston, whistle blows. He's called for traveling. Kansas gets it back, leading. Well, now they've changed the scoreboard, and it's tied 55-55.
I thought it was 55-55. They just didn't record the free throw by Smithson.
All right, so it is tied at 55 all. We were right the first time. 7:54 left in the game.
Wichita State changing defenses, this time in a man-to-man. Let's see if they stay with the man-to-man or if they drop back into a zone. Well, I tell you, it's really dangerous for Carr to be guarding somebody in a man-to-man defense right now. You really may want to protect him with his own defense.
Housey having trouble with it, and there's picked up by Guy. Short jumper, good. Tony Guy has 7 points.
Tony Guy.
57-55, Kansas by 2. 7:25 left in this basketball game. Carr over Housey, no good. Rebound, John Crawford for Kansas.
That's a big rebound for John Crawford. A chance for Kansas now to get up by 4. They're up by 2, and we've got about 7:10 to play.
Valentine goes against Tony Martin. Housey.
They've got to try to get the ball to Crawford. That's who Carr's guarding. Good move.
Darnell Valentine. 21 points for Darnell Valentine. He's having a big night, and Kansas leads by 4 with 6:54 left in this basketball game. The winner of this game will beat the winner of LSU and Arkansas, the game to be played later tonight here in the Louisiana Superdome. Tony Martin, Wichita needs it, doesn't get it. Livingston, tremendous offensive rebound by Cook. Livingston, and he has 17 points for the Shockers. Again, the 2-point lead for Kansas with 6:30 left in this game. Valentine, Magley, air ball, but off the hands of Kansas out of bounds. Belongs to Wichita. There's the Kansas head coach, Ted Owens.
I tell you, Mike Jones that time did something, Fred, and not a lot of people are going to notice in this game, but he got a hand up in Magley's face when he went up to shoot that basketball, and it caused him to miss it. He changed the trajectory of the shot. It went a little bit higher. It came off and went out of bounds, and Wichita State got it.
Antoine Carr off a tremendous feed from Randy Smithson, and Crawford fouled him, and John Crawford has fouled out of this ball game. What a power move by Antoine Carr. Look at the feed.
On a pass right there. Watch Carr go up. What strength, what power, what finesse. All the way above it. He took the shot. Crawford was hanging all over him and still went up and stuffed it.
Well, now they've changed again. Now they've got 4 fouls on John Crawford. I don't understand the scorekeeping here tonight. I had him for 3 a while ago. They put him for 4. Now they're going to call that Crawford's 4th personal foul. That gives 15 points for Antoine Carr.
That gives Wichita State a lead, 60-59. We've got about 6 minutes to play.
Well, I'm sorry I misreported it, but I was going with the scoreboard earlier. There's John Crawford right back with a big play, so he's not only in there, but he's playing well. 9 points for Crawford. 60-59 on the scoreboard. Wichita State leading by 1 now with 5:50 to play.
You still got to be thinking about Antoine Carr. He doesn't want to get that 5th foul.
Shockers with the basketball on a 1-point lead. 5:41 left in this ball game. Smithson in and out. Rebound. Housey had it. Carr saves it out front.
Big save. Big save by Antoine Carr. Good hustle inside.
Housey had it for Kansas. Couldn't hold on. Carr underneath Livingston. Shot blocked, but a foul called on David Magley of Kansas. Well, now they've got...
Magley committed the foul. You see Carr with the basketball right here. He goes up for the shot at the last moment, decides to give it to Livingston, who's a little bit closer. Magley commits the foul. He reaches over his head.
All right, I'm going to quit looking at the scoreboard. Now they've got it Kansas 61, Wichita State 60. I've been taking my information off the scoreboard.
Either keep the book or look at the scoreboard.
5:25 left in the game. It is Kansas by a point. Let's get the scoreboard right, men. Free throw, Livingston, no good. He has 17 points.
Two-shot ball.
That one ties the game at 61 all with 5:25 left in the game. There is a timeout on the court with 5:25 left in the game. The score, Kansas 61, Wichita State 61. Look at the Kansas cheerleading squad with 5:25 left in this game. Their ball club, the Kansas Jayhawks, deadlocked with Wichita State, 61-61.
I'll tell you, we got us a basketball game, and it's just like we thought it was going to be. Both of these clubs have played even pretty much all the way through the game. And here are the stats that we've got so far here in the second half. Kansas 13 of 24 for a very hot 54%. Wichita State 11 of 28 for 39%. Very poor shooting the second half, but Wichita State's winning the battle on the boards 14-8.
All right, here we go with 5:25 left in the game. A 61-61 tie. Kansas and Wichita State. NCAA Midwest Regional action in the Louisiana Superdome. Kansas with the basketball. Neal inbounds to Tony Guy. To Darnell Valentine. A 3-on-3. Valentine. Baseline. Crawford to Valentine. The scoreboard plays no more tricks on us the rest of the way. We're down to crucial time here with 5:05 left in the game.
Good pass by Valentine.
Oh, tough shot for John Crawford, and he got it. He has 11 points.
Good penetration by Valentine that time, and he found Crawford on the power block over there, and Crawford went up with a nice soft shot.
Kansas leading 63-61, 4:49 left in this ball game. Getting down to nervous time, Larry.
Wichita State being a little more cautious. Livingston and Carr continue that rotation inside.
Martin almost lost it, saves it. They operate against the Kansas zone. 4:34 left in the game. Wichita down by 2, hunting the bucket that'll tie it here.
Jackson looking inside. He comes across to Smithson on a cross court. There's Martin. Back to Jackson.
Jackson looked down. Apcar couldn't get in.
Kansas really concentrating that zone defense. They're really pushing it back inside to keep the ball away from Carr and Livingston.
Smithson.
Well, he had a notion there. He started to go up with it.
He's a good shooter. Turned that one down. Tony Martin, Jay Jackson. Clock running 4 minutes. 3 seconds left in the basketball game. Kansas 63, Wichita State 61. Martin to Jackson. Hooks the pass.
There it is.
Smithson's going to try to tie it in and out. And a foul called against Jay Jackson of Wichita, and the Shockers just had some tough luck.
Well, I'll tell you, Randy Smithson cannot ask for a better shot. He was 10 feet out, wide open. The ball caromed back and forth on the rim and fell out. The foul on the other side was committed by Jay Jackson, and Kansas will go to the other end.
Now with 3:53 left in the game, Kansas leading by 2. 63-61. Both clubs are in the 1-1 from here on out. John Crawford with 11 points in this ball game. Missed the front end of the 1-1, and Wichita could get it tied. So the Shockers get a break.
And let's see how much more patient Wichita State can be in this defense against Kansas. Carr and Livingston really want their hands on the basketball, but they're having a hard time getting it to them. That's the same shot that Smithson had a few minutes ago. He just passed it up.
3 minutes, 23 seconds left in the basketball game. 63-61, Kansas leading Wichita State. Shockers in white with the basketball. Tony Martin, Jay Jackson. Wichita showing great poise here.
Jackson and Martin, Smithson all looking inside for Livingston or Carr, and they cannot get open. Crawford and Guy, Housey have got it really locked up. Here's Carr.
Twisting shot by Carr, did not quite go, but a foul called down along the baseline with 2:56 left in the game. Boy, Carr doing some gymnastics to get that shot away, and he almost got it.
The foul's at number 54, Art Housey. There's his
fourth foul.
Antoine Carr inside. Almost a steal by Guy right there. The pass just barely got by, the one Smithson made. Carr went up for the shot. Housey right up against him, got him with the body.
Antoine Carr shooting 2 shots.
Fourth personal foul on Art Housey. Antoine Carr could tie this game for Wichita with 2:56 to play. He is 3 for 3 at the line, has 15 points in the game. Misses. The best he can do is get the Shockers within 1.
I wouldn't be very surprised to see Kansas come down and maybe pull it out a little bit.
Carr got the second one. Now we've got the odd point ball game. 63-62. Kansas by 1. Wichita State's going to meet him at midcourt with 2:49 to play. What you got? Kansas spreading it.
Now the question is, can Kansas hold the basketball for 2.5 minutes?
Not many people out there to foul. They're all 5 good free throw shooters. That's Mike Denny in the ball game all of a sudden for Wichita. He almost got the hand on it.
Well, there's the guy you want to handle the basketball. You get it to Valentine and let him take care of it.
First free throw shooter on the floor for Kansas right now is Art Housey at 65%. They go from that percentage up. 2 minutes, 11 seconds left in the game. Kansas leading 63-62. Valentine stripped by Tony Martin. Out of bounds to Kansas. Martin denying the layup.
That was a good steal by Martin. He got inside that time and looked like Valentine was going to go up with a shot. Look at him come across there. Rake the ball right out of his hands. Good play by Martin.
2 minutes, 5 seconds left in the basketball game. Kansas Jayhawks with a 1-point lead in the basketball. Magley, Denny hit the deck inside, and a tip good by Tony Guy. Magley missed the shot, and the Guy rebounded, and Kansas leads by 3 with 1:48 to play. And Gene Smithson, the Wichita coach, calling a timeout with 1:49 to play. There's your score. Kansas 65, Wichita State 62. There's the Kansas bench. Bob Hill, an assistant. Lafayette Norwood, an assistant, with his back to you, as Ted Owens gathers the Jayhawks around him.
Number 32, Gene Jackson. Back on the Wichita State.
Big play coming up here for Kansas as we look back at it.
Here's Magley's move baseline. He goes up. He's got a pretty good shot. Surprised he missed that one, but Crawford was Johnny on the spot. Not bad, Johnny Crawford.
That's Guy. Tony Guy rebounding. 9 points in the game now for Guy. 1:49 left. Kansas with a 3-point lead. The biggest lead in this ball game has been 6 by Wichita. Kansas' biggest lead has been 4. So it's really been tight throughout the evening here in the Superdome.
The problem is going to get to be for Wichita State right now is getting that ball inside the Livingston and Carr. And Kansas is even going to push those guards probably even more so back inside that painted area. And it's going to be really tough for them. You've got to look at Jackson, and you've got to look at Martin, and you've got to look at Smithson to get that 12 or 15-foot jump shot, because they're not going to have time to play with this basketball. They've got to get it up.
Larry, up behind us, half of the Superdome is full. LSU fans are here in strong numbers. Arkansas fans are here. Those two clubs will play next. The winner of this one goes against the winner of LSU and Arkansas. Kansas up by 3, 1:42 to play. Wichita needs a bucket. Tony Martin, top of the circle. Kansas in the zone, Wichita attacking. Martin had a notion. Jay Jackson will. Too strong with a try. Darnell Valentine. Big rebound for Kansas. Jayhawks up by 3. They've got the ball with 1:24 to play.
They're going to sit on it. They're not going to do much of anything now.
Jay Jackson's had a tough shooting night. He is 1 for 8 for Wichita. Whistle blows. Timeout taken by Kansas with 1:15 to play. Again, 1:15 left in the ball game. Timeout on the court. The score: Kansas 65, Wichita State 62. Minute 15 left in this ball game. Kansas now with a 3-point lead in the basketball, and not much doubt about what they're going to do now.
No, there's no doubt at all. Kansas is going to have to take care of the basketball. Wichita State is going to have to come out and try to the double teams. You try to do it at the corners, at the half line, or deep inside. You can't do much of anything if they keep the ball in the middle, and they're going to keep the ball in the hands of Darnell Valentine. He's the guy that takes care of it.
Darnell Valentine and an official having a little discussion. There you see them. They walk away. I don't know what that was about. Kansas with the basketball, leading Wichita State 65-62. The Shockers need to force a turnover. Again, 1:15 left in this ball game. Magley to Tony Guy to Valentine. Darnell Valentine with 21 points in this contest for Kansas, having the ball right now, and he's fouled. Mike Jones of Wichita commits the foul.
That's about the only thing Jones could do was to foul Valentine, because the clock was running down. We've got 56 seconds left to play. They're going to have to take their chances on Kansas going to the line and missing their free throws. If they foul a guy who's going to walk up there shooting 69%, your percentages are pretty good fouling a guy who shoots around 70%.
Valentine could tie his season high right here. Well, but Gene Smithson, Wichita coach, is going to make him wait a little while here because he calls the timeout with 56 seconds to play. Kansas leading 65-62. All right, Darnell Valentine, a 69% free throw shooter on the year. In the first half of this ball game, he was 3 for 5 at the line. For the ball game, he is 5 for 8 at the free throw line. Valentine right now with 21 points. Again, could equal his season high if he gets them both here. He'll really hurt Wichita if he does. Shocker fans, you see them, the ones that are looking up are looking at themselves. Right up in the middle, there, that young lady's really happy to see herself. Right up in the middle of this huge Superdome, they have a television screen. So those fans are taking a big look at themselves on the big screen here. Those are Wichita State Shocker fans. There it is, the board up in the middle. Some building.
It really is. You know, it's something to come in here and watch an athletic event, whether it's football or whether it's basketball. And they've been playing some baseball in this Superdome, too. I'm sure New Orleans probably has some plans, some future plans, to get a professional baseball team into this area. They've got a great facility to play in.
The concern on the faces of the Wichita Shocker fans. They have never beaten Kansas. They met them only 4 times in history. Kansas won all 4 previous meetings. This is the 5th meeting. It's been 26 years since these two got together. And Kansas, with 56 seconds to play, leading 65-62 as Darnell Valentine, a 6'2 senior from Wichita, steps to the free throw line.
Here are the big ones.
Missed. Didn't get it. Wichita still breathing. 52 seconds to play. Shockers down by 3. Mike Jones from long range. He got it. Mike Jones from way outside. 1 point lead for Kansas. 41 seconds to play. They double team Valentine. Jones goes after Magley in backcourt. There you see the clock running down, and we have the ball out of bounds. And who does it belong to? Foul has been called at the Kansas against Johnny Crawford of Kansas, and the break goes Wichita's way. John Crawford of Kansas has committed a foul at the other end of the floor, and he is fouled out of this contest with 33 seconds to play.
Fred, it looks like it may not be a foul. It may be Kansas called a timeout. I think that's what it is. Crawford turned to Burl Crowell, the official, and called a timeout.
Timeout comes with 33 seconds to play. Kansas 65, Wichita 64.
Crawford called a timeout. Everybody else.
Ball game, Kansas leading Wichita State 65-64. The Shockers thought they had the ball for a moment.
Fred, let's backtrack and explain exactly what happened. Kansas was in trouble in that press. They were having a hard time getting the ball up the court. Magley took the basketball and threw it, and it looked like the 10-second count was going to run on Kansas. Crawford ran to Crowell and called a timeout. The Wichita State contention is that the ball was in the air. He couldn't call a timeout. But the official underneath, Burl Crowell, said no, he had possession. The timeout was called before the pass was thrown.
So it was not the foul on Crawford. It was him calling the timeout. Kansas with a 1-point lead in the basketball. 33 seconds to play. Valentine missed. And Wichita trying to save it. The Shockers have it with 26 seconds to play, down by a point. And now Wichita is going to call a timeout with 24 seconds to play. And Wichita State down by 1, and they have the basketball.
Fred, I've seen a lot of impossible things happen in this NCAA tournament so far, but you've got to watch this again. Here it comes right now. Darnell Valentine, wide open, going for a layup. He's got a breakaway. He's got a little bit of pressure at the end. You'll see it right here. He gets a good pass from Guy. He catches it in midair, takes one step, goes up, concentration. The ball rolls off the front of the rim. He comes back and tries to get it again, but it gets slapped away right there. And here comes the save up right now, and the save was, it came inside, and Smithson picked the basketball up.
Livingston made the save for the Shockers. How do you figure this? Darnell Valentine, 21 points, has led Kansas all night long. And down in the stretch here, Darnell Valentine has missed the front end of a 1-and-1 and then missed the layup. And Wichita has a chance to win this thing. With 24 seconds to play, they are down by a point. They've got the ball. And there are the Shocker fans. Hopeful again.
Well, they just grasped it out of the reach of the devil, because really Kansas would have had it had they gotten that layup by Valentine, but they didn't. Now Wichita State's got to come down. They've got 24 seconds, and I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind where that basketball is going to go.
Let's try inside. It's where it's been all night long.
It's going to be one of those two bookends, I'll guarantee you that.
Antoine Carr has 16 points in this contest. Cliff Livingston has 18. Randy Smithson has 15. 24 seconds to play. Wichita down by 1.
Here we go.
There you see the clock, top of your screen. Mike Jones.
Could we have another hero other than Livingston or Carr? Maybe. Maybe we could have a Kansas hero. Valentine, almost a steal.
9 seconds left. Shockers down by 1.
Gotta get it up.
6 seconds left. Jones from 25. Go! With 3 seconds left. Mike Jones, he has 8. The clock now shows 2 seconds left. Kansas is going to claim they should have 3. And right behind us, the Wichita fans, delirious. They are beside themselves. 2 seconds left on the clock. Wichita leads by 1.
Mike Jones has found a home 30 feet from the basket. 2 of them. Look at this one. He is way out there. Lets it go, and it hits nothing but the cords.
He has made 2 of those late in the ball game, and did you see that he was standing on the three-point line? If they had the three-point rule in this thing, he would have connected for all of them. Wichita State 66, Kansas 65 with 2 seconds left in this ball game.
Okay, now it's not over with yet. Kansas still has an opportunity, but they've got to get one long pass, and it's got to be thrown past the half court, and whoever gets it has got to turn immediately and let go with at least a 30, 35-foot shot. I'm sure Wichita State is going to play somebody on the ball out of bounds to try to deny that pass. The other 4 people are going to try to pick up wherever they can. I don't know who's going to take the shot for Kansas, but I've got to believe Darnell Valentine's going to be close.
Well, you'd have to think so. They also have brought Booty Neal off the bench. He's one of their better shooters. They'd put no more time back on the clock. Kansas was wanting 3 seconds on the clock. They're going to leave it at 2. Larry, that could be very close to 3. It could be very close to 1, depending on how that clock is ticked already.
Yeah, that's right. You know, if it's 2.9 seconds, then it could be very, very crucial. Let's see how Kansas handles this and how Wichita State sets up.
Later tonight, LSU and Arkansas here in Louisiana. The winner of this one meets the winner of that one.
It's been an exciting game. Good basketball game.
It really has been. Biggest lead has been 6. There's the score. 2 seconds to play. Kansas has the ball. They have John Crawford down court. Housing near midcourt. Booty Neal will throw it in. Valentine and Guy.
3 guys in front court. Here we go.
Booty Neal has it. Running baseline, and we're trying to get a foul called. Darnell Valentine was trying to draw the charging foul. Jackson collided with Darnell Valentine. Kansas calls a timeout. Darnell Valentine set up on the baseline trying to draw the charging foul. Jay Jackson banged into him. Ted Owens, the Kansas coach, you're looking at Bob Hill, the assistant there. Ted Owens wanting to know why they did not get a foul call.
Let's pick it up again. Let's see if it looks like a foul.
There's an unhappy man. Here it is.
Watch this right here. Watch Valentine. He's inside the painted area. Watch him move to the baseline. Here goes Guy running the baseline. Here comes the move. I don't know. That's a pretty close call. I don't know if it could have been blocking or charging. I guess the officials just decided to let it go.
Now, I've got another question for you. Did KU call the timeout in 3 seconds? You get 5 to play it in. You have to call the timeout in 3 or you don't get it. And I've got to wonder if they called it in 3.
It's academic now because they've got it again. They're going to have to come back and try to run another play.
I wonder if the Kansas bench told the officials what they were going to try to do.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they looked up. I saw them talking to 2 officials on the other end, but the one guy that was out of bounds underneath there who handed the basketball, he was the one who could have made the call. He decided to make a no call.
Still 2 seconds left on that clock. Now, Kansas has no timeouts. Wichita State has 1. 2 seconds to play. Wichita State 66, Kansas 65. Kansas has Tony Guy, Johnny Crawford, Darnell Valentine, David Magley, and Booty Neal on the floor. Now they're going to set up differently with everybody at midcourt. They're going to try to throw to midcourt if they can. Magley, Guy, and Valentine at midcourt. Crawford down into the basket. Neal's going to throw for Crawford. Length of the court. Over his head. Wichita has the ball under their own basket with 2 seconds to play. Nobody touched the ball. It will go back to the Wichita end. And the Shockers in great shape in this thing now.
All they've got to do is just simply get the basketball in. They're going to take a timeout and talk about it. That's exactly what we should do.
Well, they can't foul. If they can avoid fouling and get it in bounds, Wichita is going to have their first victory ever over the University of Kansas. There's the score, 2 seconds left.
You know, Gene Smith, he says, we have got to talk about this. Let's sit down. We've got 2 seconds. We're going to get the ball in. I'm sure the first thing Kansas is going to do is press that ball. They're going to stay on top of the ball. If it comes in, there's going to be a foul just as quickly as they can commit a foul. I don't know if it's going to do any good.
Larry, one thing happened there now. Wichita just spent their last timeout. If they should get in trouble trying to get it in bounds, they can't call a timeout. If they try to, that would be a technical foul. Here's Ted Owens.
Everybody, Darnell tagged in on him here. And if they do any work, think of that.
Well, it has been some basketball game in the Superdome.
What you do in a situation like this, Fred, is if you're the guy out of bounds and you see it's going to be call time, take the basketball and throw it at the feet of the man who is guarding you in bounds. That way the clock will start. You'll run some time, and if it goes back out of bounds, it's still maybe a second, maybe 2 clicks will go off.
So Wichita has the basketball and a 1-point lead, 2 seconds to play. They need to just get it in bounds. In it comes, and a foul is called with 1 second to play against Booty Neal of Kansas. They have fouled Randy Smithson. Randy Smithson, the coach's son, the young man that made 2 free throws that iced the Wichita State victory over Iowa. And now Randy Smithson steps to the foul line with 1 second left in the basketball game.
Unless we have a U.S. Reed replay, I'd say it's pretty well over for the Jayhawks right now. Smithson makes both of these, it is over.
1-1. Wichita by 1. Smithson's first one in and out.
It's got to go.
Neal's going to throw the length of the court. He didn't get it. The ball game is over, and Wichita State has defeated Kansas. Wichita State defeats Kansas 66-65 in the Midwest Regional here in the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. Look at the picture. That is Wichita, no doubt about it, celebrating a midcourt.
Big time. Wichita State, first win they've ever had over Kansas University.
Wichita State now will play the winner of LSU and Arkansas. Executive producer of tonight's game has been Dennis Kreider of NCAA Productions. Producer-director John Crow. Technical director, supervisor Bill Dipple. Technical facilities from WWL New Orleans. Score again. Wichita State 66, Kansas 65. For Larry Conley, this is Fred White saying goodnight from New Orleans, Louisiana. Final score again, Wichita State 66, Kansas 65. This has been an NCAA Productions telecast.